This one won't do either.
What happened to them?
An explanation for another. Tend to him, Ione.
You're a survivor. It is not too late. You're not the only or know that and if your sacrifice is necessary to my mission. I will grant you a swift death! Meddling will have dire consequences.
It's time for me to go. I'm afraid. What do I always tell you? That's right. Of course it is, Soren. Don't worry, my boy. I'll be back before... Here. Take this. So you know I'll Don't burn down the house while I'm gone.
You are unworthy to stand beside true immortals! I'll burn your soul to ash! Burn your soul
flesh.
Struggle is meaningless. Only one has entered Aldwynn in recent memory. Your conviction pales in comparison. Await death. The Ascended will not hear your pleas.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want...
Know your place amongst the rabble who claw at our gates. Hell awaits. Remind me of her.
Fine mess you've gotten us into, you bumbling oaf.
Silence, Pop.
You there, standing around. We've run afoul of these wolves. I shudder to think what might become of me.
You mean us?
No. Mind releasing me from this cage?
Thank the gods. The more I listen to her yap, the more I welcome death.
That can still be arranged. If it's reparations you seek, there is much I could teach you in the way of a bow. If it's reparation...
Free me, and I, Grimgod the Devastator.
Mistra bless you. Find me again at Sanctuary, and I'll make good on my promise.
You had me worried. Best we leave, for the Amarogs catch our scent.
Miss...
Best we...
I've yet to introduce myself. I am Nymeria from Mistra, the Spring Isles. As promised, I have some teachings for you. Shall we begin? Mistra, while beautiful, is a mercenary kingdom under rule by the Magisters of Muren. We are often dispatched to aid in skirmishes, bolster forces across the Great Expedition. Does that surprise you? The promise of immortality doesn't quell hunger or pay taxes. The great... There is one story that's reached even Mistra, Aldwynn, an archer, no doubt, though I have not known any arrows to leave such marks. Curious, no? I should like to... The great expedition often lends it... There is one an archer. I should like to...
Eternal thanks, Pop. Listening to that archer talk was torture worse than the Amarogs. Now, you're here for some training, yes? Something nefarious lurks down below. Creatures of the abyss that shimmer at a glance. Difficult to see, even harder to kill. If you venture below, take these. They might guide you through the darkness. Now, you...
You know not what you're interfering with. Is it revenge you seek? This relic is a monument of wars long before the great expeditions were ever celebrated. What hope do we mortals have against such foes? How many more must die in the names of their kings? I will put an end to it all. Dead, as promised.
Your father would be proud.
You again?
An immortal, but not by my hands. What curious deceit have you used to pull this off? No matter.
But you said...
Practice patience while the word still has any meaning.
You couldn't stay dead long enough for me to have this. Ugh! I will bury you myself! Meddlesome twit! You've ruined everything! No outsider has ever made it to Kershorai. Do you understand? You've left us for dead. Any mortal blood spilled here is on your hands. Remember that.
I was sitting there alone with my thoughts when I saw a shadow descend from the heavens. It was finally my time. Death had come to claim my fuzzy mass. But I had never seen an angel so ungraceful. He tumbled in the dirt, dusted himself off, and stared back with hollow eyes. I knew then what I know now, that all he wanted was an audience to listen to the gospel of his scars. Just his luck to have found me. He had no need to ask why he had come. We shared 1,000 unspoken words since the dust settled. I gave him a nod, and he nodded back. He knew what needed to be done. A man that stares back at death earns the right to say no. And he was on a first-name basis with death. But he knew that this was a matter of fate. And fate always comes knocking. He knew. But I decided to throw him a bone. Even the hardest men respond well to the carrot and the stick. And that's exactly what I wanted. Carrots. Golden carrots, to be precise. Golden carrots would earn him something special. Maybe it even filled the void in his life. It was as quiet as the grave. Only the sound of a rumbling stomach to remind him of the urgency of his task. Here, at the Mausoleum of Creation, the lonely soul contemplated his existence. Yet there was an emptiness, a void at the very source of where life began. For Gaia's heart had long since been plundered by the precursors of civilization. He remained in the cavern of Gaia, awed by the existential metaphor of a heartless world. He asked suspiciously, like one born to curated truths that were slowly unraveling. And yet, beyond the archway, the revelation to all his answers were unearthed in an empty grave. As the Eternals mourn for their mother, they sleep, they dream. And all anyone can wonder is, do they also dream of golden carrots? He asked, and yet, do they all? He asked, and yet, do they all?
You've defeated your first heroic challenger. But will it be your last?
been spared once before, and it was not out of kindness. I'd sooner perish than that happened to me again. I will grant you a swift death!
Yes. It seems grief consumed our muttering friend. She went up in flames, professing to be reborn from dust to the wind now. You've another from Vildredor that accompanies you. An exile, judging by his stump. The hunt flows through his veins. Consider that a friendly... And so the sheep becomes the shepherd. Culling them to this fool is the promise of a reward worth feeding them false hope. I won't blame you. We're all slaves to our vices after all. Don't run up.
This church was a monument to him. The Bulwark, chosen of Aldwynn. People clamored in adoration. They sought to be anointed, as he was, by self-proclaimed gods, usurpers who touted him like a trophy, inspiring entire generations. In return, they promised immortality. Then you walk among the fools and the ghosts of Aldwynn. I watched as the Bulwark's mind and body slowly decayed. But he never lost his sense of purpose, despite any who prayed here. And now you, who have silenced his thunder. This storm that once heralded judgment, now who shall deem whether one is worth becoming immortal or not? Perhaps I... Mortality is the maelstrom into hell, a crucible of the ascended to call infant. Without their salvation, we are destined to die. Oh, the children knew it by heart. When aging suggests you lack faith, society begins to tear itself apart. Children murdered by jealous parents. Beautiful men and women, gutted by admirers who bathed in their blood. The elderly, if they were lucky enough to live that long, were ostracized, clawing against the city gates, howling their final pleas for redemption. But they didn't know. Death is an eventuality for the fortunate. Your prospects aren't looking too favorable. Why have you come to disturb the dead? Why have you come to disturb the dead? Leave this place and honor her memory. Whether you find her or not, no one is truly alive here. Empty, save for the memory of my parents. Nothing to bury. Time and their arrogance made certain of that, but their consciousness endures. A story for another time, perhaps. Follow me. Beyond these gates, you'll see Kir Siorai. Within its walls is the dreaded source. Look upon the citadel and consider your next move. Another expedition, marred by tragedy, remembered only by the mothers whose sons and daughters have fallen. The king will continue to celebrate the dead as heroes of the realm. They don't know any better. A child is not to blame for the environment in which they are raised. King Vowels must die. No. Too many will suffer for his ambition. Sorrow resonates through the kingdoms. I can feel it in the air, but I will assuage their pain. No longer will a mother suffer the loss of a child. When all are immortal under the sun, I will be queen.
Well, well, maybe there's redemption for you yet. Why you wish to go to Kaer Shorai while already an immortal confounds me. Well, just know that if you attempt to take the source, I will cut you down without hesitation. The ambitious who dare venture into Sirad are assassinated, leaving behind pockets of influence. Not without sacrifice. Tribes that wane are executed or assimilated. But as warlords rise, the ire of the remaining rally to crush them. And so, the cycle continues. Perhaps, if Sirad falls, then Vildredor's focus may turn away from themselves and towards new lands. Don't fool yourself into thinking Sirad is a neutral kingdom. They will push out when the time is right. And who could possibly stop them if I don't end it here and now? What happens after is not my concern. The ambitious who not with tribes that went so. Perhaps. Don't fool, they will push out what happens.
In truth, I never expected you to make it this far. I suppose an introduction is well overdue. I am Ione Eku, beyond the chasm. That's Kaer Shorai. All who seek immortality must pass through its crumbling gates. It was almost my new home. Before you showed up. We shouldn't tarry too. She never spoke much about her past with me, but The way she talks about the expeditions, I think she may have lost a great deal during one of them. It seems likely, though she may very well be a native of Sirad. They are few and rare, but something about her is... I've seen her subjected to all manner of death, only to brush it off. I've seen her I've seen...
I'm not with a tribe and so don't fool, they will put what happened. I'm not tribes and so don't fool, they will push out what happened.
These sewers lead back to Sanctuary, and ahead towards Kier Shiorai. Death needn't be so loathed, for you will be reunited with the loved ones you lost, but my soul has perished long ago, and I have not but dust to commune with my family. My choice to die was taken from me. Once my home, now a derelict too. May the remnants of my world convince you otherwise.
you.